Hello. Welcome to Bip and Bat's Date Night. Bip's Bites presents questions with Bip and Bat. Like and subscribe, by the way, if you're randomly getting this video. If you're one of our friends and you haven't, you should be ashamed that you haven't already. I can't believe if you know us that you haven't. But these are the questions that you guys mentioned on Facebook. So we're going to go ahead and answer those and get started on a new series, hopefully, that we're going to keep doing together.
Yes.
All right, so what do we got?
So the first question is about how do you season chicken breast and keep it tender and juicy?
Seasoning is probably less important with chicken breast than temperature, because people constantly are told that like 165 is the key temperature for chicken, and we found that technically anything over 150 for like, a few minutes is good enough to go. And by the time you get it on your plate, it'll be so much more juicier and still like pasteurized basically in the middle. And we found that the kids and everybody really, really like chicken that's not overcooked, because by the time you hit 165 for 10 seconds, everything's gone out of it or whatever. But it's also not near, you've also gotten rid of like half the stuff that makes it taste like chicken at that point. And a lot of people are always like, oh, chicken doesn't taste like chicken. But I think a lot of times they also kill the chicken out of it. It's like it's already dead. You don't have to double down. You can just cook it so get like a kitchen thermometer, which is one of our most important tools, and start probing your chicken breast. And especially if you cook it at 150 or even 155, if you like the texture a little firmer, like we found that when you microwave that and redo your leftovers, it'll be so much better. It won't just all be spit out or whatever.
Yes.
All right.
All right, so next question. What is your favorite vegetarian dish?
I really like masabaha quite a bit, which is
It's
like,
really good.
yeah, it's like chickpeas and hummus and combined sort of, I don't know, like deconstructed hummus kind of. It's like hot hummus soup is a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
I really like it. And I also like calabasitas, which is something I made for vegetarian and vegan friends before, which is like squash and squash blossom. We use squash blossom, so squash and squash blossom, and we put like corn and things like that. Vegan cheese or non-vegan cheese if you're a vegetarian. But it's a pretty good recipe that I'll probably do a video on sometime.
Yeah.
And it's also one of those two I think are pretty much our go-tos. If we have to be like, oh, we have to make something vegetarian or vegan and we want it to still taste awesome and nobody to care what it like. There's no meat in it whatsoever. So.
Another one that I just thought of was the mushroom steaks.
Oh yeah, mushroom steaks are really
Yeah.
good too.
Yeah.
Especially if people are looking for something that resembles meat, which a lot of times we try to avoid something that resembles meat if somebody is like anti-animal vegetarian or vegan, but a lot of times if people are just dietary ones, mushroom steaks are pretty good.
Yes.
Pretty good
they're
go.
Really good. All right. So the next question is, what is your favorite way to hard boil or poach eggs?
To use a egg cooker, like one of those Dash things, or I think they have other companies now, but the Dash ones are
Cheap.
cheap and
Good.
effective and good, and they're very low power and efficient, I guess you'd say. You can do like a dozen eggs in one pretty quick, but they have little 6 eggs ones too, and they make awesome soft-boiled eggs, medium-boiled eggs, very accurately,
Yep.
very fast. And you can do poached eggs in them that are pretty accurate, and I'd say that's been the best ones that we've ever encountered. And it's like all the Dash stuff is like super. You can usually find it on sale, or
Yeah,
even
they
if
have
it's
all
not.
sorts of stuff. They have like little pancake things and all sorts of.
Yeah, waffle makers. But the main thing is the egg cooker. But you can make eggs in actually the waffle maker and stuff too. But I would definitely say that the Dash egg cooker is way easier than doing it just straight up, because you can teach your kids to make hard-boiled eggs, soft-boiled eggs, medium-boiled eggs, and they can pretty much follow it flawlessly, because our
Eggs
kids
like crazy.
all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, next.
All right. So somebody was asking about Mayak egg recipes and how you would make an American
Which
version.
Mayak eggs are like Korean eggs that are kind of like miso eggs without miso. I'd say we got like soy sauce and garlic and sesame seeds, I think. Maybe ginger. I would just say use Worcestershire sauce, since that's like a fish sauce anyways, made out of anchovies and has like that similar sort of
Brown.
salty brown
Yeah.
umami flavor. But that's a good idea. I would probably try that sometime. Really, I think you would probably use soy sauce for that, though. I mean, soy sauce is something I think even Americans at this point would use for
Oh yeah, we
all
use
kinds of stuff.
soy sauce a lot too.
All right, next one.
Let's see. Where do we buy all these exotic ingredients?
We go to a grocery store chain that's a Hispanic grocery store a lot, like Guanajuato, but everywhere has a couple. And I would like if you're a city or a town above a certain size in America, at least you'll probably have one. Jungle gyms, if it's something super fancy and we want to go in person, that's not something everybody can do. Asian markets and Mexican grocery stores and Indian markets, and especially during like shortages or any time where there's like food, like people are out buying like all kinds of something. You can almost always go to an ethnic grocery store of some sort and find stuff, especially like in season stuff for other countries that we get here. A lot of times you can just go ahead and get Mexican grocery store somewhere. That's probably where it actually they just ship it up from there.
Yep. So let's see. So, what do you put in things to make it better? Like
Oh yeah, we get asked all the time, like, oh, what do you put in? How come this one's better? How come yours has so much more flavor in it? We have noticed if you look at a recipe on like the back of a box of something, or if you look at random recipes online, not ones to like the bigger people that kind of know what they're doing, but a lot of times the seasoning will be like so little for the amount of meat or vegetation involved, like that there's no way that that's enough. Like if you look at a lot of recipes from other countries and a lot of places, like when they use like Berber seasoning or something like that, they'll use, a half cup total of seasoning. If you look at a similar recipe, so other people will be like, oh, why does this not taste like anything? It's like there's 1 tablespoon total of seasoning in that entire thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's stuff we make, there's 1 tablespoon of black pepper in like, 2 to 1 pounds of the beef. So, and remember, like salt and seasoning and all that stuff, kind of 2 different things.
Yes.
So be careful that you don't just add salt to things if the seasonings you're using have salt in them. But I'd say that, yeah, people just a lot of times people, well, if you look at other stuff up, the people say like fat and things like that, like, oh, they don't use enough fat or they don't use enough salt. A lot of times people just don't put enough, like if you look at what taco seasoning says to use in it, it's like, oh, no wonder your tacos are lame because you used like, 2 pounds of ground beef to like a 1/4 cup total of seasoning. There's no way other than salt and coloring, which if you use in the right powdered paprika and stuff like that, then you don't need coloring because the paprika is the color.
Yes.
All right. The next thing.
So, this is the last question I had. How did you get into cooking and really? My
grandparents, my great grandma, my grandma. I always just thought it was a cool and fun nerd thing to do, watching TV shows and stuff like that. And we got lots of kids,
and you're good
and,
at it.
And I'm pretty good at it. So as you start figuring out you're good at something, and my ADHD brain remembers food things. So you combine that together, because if you learn enough random stuff from enough random food things, you can make like anything with any sort of pantry that you come up with. I think that probably our biggest strength when it comes to our house food is like we've bought random stuff at Goodwill that we really needed when we needed it, and our pantry is pretty strong.
Yeah.
If you carry the right spices and ingredients all the time, you don't have to worry about coming up with something when you didn't think of something to make, because you have all the stuff
that's
already right there to make it, and you can just kind of wing it, or playing Chopped, I guess is what we call it. We just kind of make it up as you go.
Been doing that we did that for a long time.
Yep,
too.
just did it on our own. We're like, oh, what are you going to do? We're going to do this and this, and we're going to combine this, just figure it out. So I think that's, just having the nerd desire to learn a lot about it, and then realizing that it made all the food that I made better, to learn random things. A lot of YouTube, a lot of books, like, but I'd say more watching other people and then reading other people's recipes in the language of the countries of the place that you're trying to find recipes for, which is
Yeah.
another little tip and trick video I'll do sometime, is
Yes.
how to find the right recipe to figure out what you're going to do yourself with. And a lot of times it is just do a little bit of research and the correct
Yes.
thing. It's like, oh no, ADHD nerd stuff helps with that. So maybe get ADHD. I don't know about how.
Yeah, that might have. Yeah. But yeah, that was all the questions that we had.
All right. Well,
For now.
that sounds like a good first go around for this one. We
Yes.
got some ideas for the next one lined up, and do some top 5, 6, 8, 10, whatever. You don't have to stick to a nice. Maybe we'll do Roman numerals. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to finally get another one out there while we edit together some other things. So
Yep.
hope you like it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Yay.
Yay.